Are you prepared for winter emergencies? I know today is the first day of fall, but it is time to really look into your winter emergency supplies and make sure you have everything you need. The cold weather is coming, and even in the warmer states down south, it can happen, and it's great to be prepared if something happens, if you have a cold snap, snow, ice, anything like that. If we take a look at Texas early this year, a lot of people were not prepared for that ice to come in. It doesn't usually happen, but once in a while, you just never know. So I think right now is the perfect time to start looking at your supplies and things like that for winter emergencies. We need to make sure that we have everything that we need and we can get through emergencies that can happen, whether it is ice, snow, flooding. We have had that in the winter before. All kinds of stuff, just a cold snap, frost. If the grid goes down during one of those times, it can happen, and it has happened tons of times before. You need to be prepared, and it is so important. Right now, they're putting out that winter stuff in the stores. We take some time right now and go through all of our winter supplies. So today I've got a little list of some of the things that we are checking on to make sure that we have. So these are in no particular order, just a list of the things that we check on, and we try to get these done within a few days. That way, if there's anything we need, we can get it on a list and we can start looking for it, save up for it, whatever it is that we need to do. So one of the things that we are looking at is clothing. Do we have hats, coats, boots, gloves, all of those things, all that clothing stuff for winter? Make sure we have enough. In extreme cold, it is great to layer stuff. So if you've got a long sleeve t-shirt, a short sleeve t-shirt, a hoodie, a jacket, you can keep layering stuff on, but if you only have a winter coat, it just might not be enough. So we like to make sure we have plenty of layers, and especially if you have kids. Right now is my kids' favorite time of year because it's still pretty warm, and I'm like, go get your winter stuff on. We have to try on boots, snow pants, jackets, everything to make sure it fits, it's in good condition. If it needs repair, I have time to repair it. Things like that. If we need to get a bigger size, I have time to find it. Clothing, especially if you have kids, you want to make sure you're double checking that clothing and having all of the stuff that you're going to need to make sure that everybody is warm. Another thing we are checking and making sure they are handy are making sure we have extra blankets. Wool blankets are wonderful when the heat goes out because it really helps hold that heat in. They are a great thing to have. Sleeping bags are another thing. If you're a camper and you have sleeping bags, that's awesome. If the power goes out and it's cooler in your home, those sleeping bags are nice and toasty and a great way to keep warm. And make sure we have emergency blankets for everybody, just in case. You never know. And you can use them to block off doorways or whatever. If your power goes out and you only have a small heater to heat one room in your house, you can, block off the living room or the kitchen and just, we sack out in sleeping bags wherever we have to when we've had emergencies. If everybody's got to sleep in the kitchen, we've got sleeping bags, we've got emergency blankets to block off doorways, we've got whatever it is to make sure we can keep the heat in that room to keep us warm enough. Another thing we are checking on is to make sure we have our heat for the winter. Whatever it is you use for heat, do you use oil, wood, whatever, gas? Also have a backup heat. What are you going to do if the grid goes down in the dead of winter? How are you going to stay warm? You know, you're going to want to make sure you have a backup plan for heat. Even if you're in a warm area, it can happen, and you want to make sure that you can keep your family warm, even if it's just one room with like a small little heater, or you know, even candles will work for heat if you have enough of them going, but you don't want to leave them running if no one's paying attention to. Also, having a backup cooking source. So if you run out of gas, or the electricity goes down, if the grid is down, how are you going to cook your food? It's one of those things that is super important. If you have a grill, a fire pit, whatever that is, and make sure you have fuel to get through a good amount of time. In case the grid is down for 2 weeks, you could, you know, or longer, it could be much longer, months, you just never know. But if you have at least got a good start on it, it's going to be a big help. When emergencies first strike, people are stressed, they're not thinking properly. It's having everything at that moment to get you through, at least for a little while, is definitely going to help it and ease you into it a little bit more. We are also checking our first aid supplies. Do we have enough first aid supplies on hand to get through if we are snowed in for 4 months all winter long, you know, or 6 months? Do we have enough to get through in case of emergencies? Blood stop, a big one to have on your list. One of my friends cut herself the other day, and she could not get it to stop bleeding, ended up in the emergency room. If you are stranded in your home or something like that, and you can't get to the emergency room, you have got to have something to help you stop a deep cut or something like that. So blood stop is definitely a big one. If you don't have that in your emergency supplies, you can get it probably at most drugstores. I find it in the camping section at Walmart. It's about $8, and there's 2 little packets inside. And in a pinch, we have for our animals, and I've done it for myself before, but it's much more risky than the blood stop, but in a pinch, I do this for myself, is flour. If you have got a massive cut, cut yourself with a knife or whatever on glass, flour will work. Press it in, it will help stop the blood. You know, you're going to definitely want to clean it really well after, but the blood stop, I would recommend that first. If you can get your hands on it, get it into your stuff, because simple things like that, just a simple cut in the kitchen, can turn into a nightmare. So, you know, making sure you have all of those emergency first aid stuff on hand, and plenty of it to get you through a few months or longer, whatever your plan is. So, you know, over-the-counter medications also, that is another big one. Cold and flu season is here. There are other things you can catch besides COVID. So having those, and having, you know, if you do herbal remedies, getting those together, making sure you have all the components to it, all that stuff, just to be prepared for winter. We are also checking all of our backup energy supplies, like any generators that you have. If you have gas generators, making sure they are tuned up, running good, all that. Making sure you have plenty of fuel for them. If you are going for gas, solar generators, make sure all your panels are working, everything is going. We have small solar battery banks that we stick in the windows, great for charging your phones, tablets, anything like that. And also hand crank, solar radio, those are wonderful to have in case of an emergency. If the power goes down, you've got the radio, you can hear. A lot of them, I look for the ones with the emergency weather on them, the NOAA weather, and making sure that you have that in the house and are ready in case, you know, if that grid goes down, it can definitely cause huge problems. We're also checking on our lighting. Do we have enough lanterns? Lamp oil, if you use oil lamps, you want to make sure you have plenty of that. You can get it in the stores. Hopefully your store is stocked with it right now if you don't have enough. I did see some locally recently at a small hardware store. So if your big box stores don't have it and that's where you normally shop, definitely check your smaller stores. They have a lot of supplies that the big stores don't have. They don't always have giant quantities of them, but a lot of times they will have a few things in of each kind of item, and just so you can get a hold of it. And flashlights, headlamps, making sure you have plenty of batteries for everything, any battery lanterns, candles if you use candles, whatever it is that you are going to use for lighting, make sure that you have plenty of that, and it's all easy to find. We put a flashlight all over the place. There's flashlights in the dish cabinets and in the pantry and in the bathroom. We got them stashed everywhere. There's little lanterns and flashlights. So wherever we are, if the power goes out, we can at least get light and get to where we need to go without running anyone down or killing ourselves running into the wall. We are also checking out our car to make sure it is ready for the winter. The wiper blades work good. Everything is in good condition. Tires are okay. Everything's running in good condition. Make sure you have your emergency supplies in your car in case you break down. Flashlights. Those little hot hands are amazing to keep in the car. We keep tons of them in the house too, because they're great when you go and have to shovel or whatever, go out in the cold to fix something. Those little hot hands are a great thing to have. And just make sure you have all of those emergency supplies in the car, flashlights, rope, a little toolkit. It doesn't have to be extensive. Most people are not prepared to work on these newer cars with all these computers and stuff. But if you can do a few things, change a tire, fix a belt, tighten up some stuff, maybe clean battery cables, things like that. Those are great to have at least the tools to do some basic stuff. So if it's just something small, you can get it fixed and get on your way. Last but not least, we are checking in our pantry right now to make sure we have some instant, like open and eat foods. The grid goes down, and you're in the middle of trying to get dinner together. It is handy to, hopefully we have a wood stove so we can transfer right over and cook on the wood stove, and a little oven for that. But I know not everybody has that. Having emergency stuff to open and eat, soup, SpaghettiOs, not the best stuff, but for the first night, it will help get you through. Things like that. Just making sure you have those little instant open and eat things so you can get going and get everything set up so you're able to cook your beans and rice or whatever, a nice big hearty soup, whatever it is that you're going to do. So making sure we have plenty of those emergency things in there, and our vitamins, obviously I should have mentioned that with the medical stuff, but making sure you have plenty of vitamins if you take those and have all that stuff on hand, especially if you are stuck eating in your pantry. You want to have extra vitamins on hand, because a lot of us are used to eating a lot of fresh foods, and all summer, I'm eating all the fresh food I can get out of the garden, and in the winter I love to buy fresh produce. But if you can't get there or it isn't there to get, having extra vitamins is definitely going to be helpful for you. And that is it for today. If you have any other things that you can think of to prepare for winter, please drop them in the comments down below. It really helps other people, and you guys are so helpful and so great, and it just, this community is amazing. You guys are just awesome, and I want to thank you all, and I just love you all. I'm so lucky to have all of you. And that's it for today. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.